This edition of Durango TV News is brought to you by Comfort Keepers, recipient of the 2017 Best of Home Care Provider and Employer of Choice by Home Care Pulse.
A months-long debate over whether to allow pedal-assisted electric bikes on City of Durango trails has morphed into a bigger concern over safety, trail etiquette, and the need for bicycle speed limits on the Animas River Trail. Last year, the Durango City Council adopted an ordinance that banned all motorized bicycles from city trails, including pedal-assisted electric bikes that are powered only when the rider chooses to do so while pedaling. The council received dozens of letters and public comment in protest of the ban, particularly from older riders who use the bikes to help them climb steeper hills on the trails. In response, the city's advisory boards for Parks and Recreation, Natural Lands, and Multimodal Transportation formed a subcommittee to study the issue and to make a recommendation on whether the city should lift the ban. The committee has received literally hundreds of written comments and public statements on both sides of the issue. And what has emerged is that the e-bike controversy has become a lightning rod for concerns about growing bike-pedestrian conflicts on the increasingly crowded Animas River Trail.
I think that it's just a simple matter of generally somebody by foot is walking, 2, maybe 4 miles per hour, mostly 2 or less, and so they're going quite slow. And then if you take a bicycle, and we did some speed checks on how fast bikes are riding on the river trail particularly, and the average is between 10 and 12 miles per hour. So that's a big differential between somebody going 2 miles per hour or less and somebody going, 10 miles per hour faster. So the perception of the pedestrian is they're whizzing by, and by the time they say on your left, they've passed, and I get startled or I get run over. And so I think one of the things that we want to do is we want to just do a little bit more education with the community about how do we do better at sharing the trail with all different kinds of user groups. And perhaps that addressing that issue will alleviate some of the concerns about this discussion regarding e-bikes.
Parks and Recreation officials admit the e-bike ban hasn't been very effective. E-bike riders regularly access the trail in violation of the ordinance, with hardly a glance or protest from pedestrians, as Durango TV found out when we filmed owner Laurie Sigillito riding her e-bike on the trail earlier this week.
Well, these folks are fine. It's your people that do it professionally. I mean, they go pretty doggone fast. Some of them are so rude, especially the ones that do it professionally. You just have to get out of their way. They don't have beepers or horns, and then I've had stuff knocked out of my hands.
At this point, the advisory boards are considering a recommendation to allow pedal-assisted e-bikes on the trail for a 1-year trial period. The recommendation also includes provisions for setting a speed limit of 10 miles per hour along the Animas River Trail from Memorial Park to Cundiff Park, and a speed limit of 50 miles per hour from Cundiff to the trail's terminus at Dalbetta Park. The advisory boards will consider the recommendations at the next meeting, scheduled for 5 p.m. on May 15th at the City Recreation Center. To see more on the recommendation, visit the Parks and Recreations page at durangogov.org.